Now on BBC World News, Tim Hewell goes to Uganda to investigate increasing reports of ritual killing of children, supposedly to satisfy evil spirits, with some astonishingly frank confessions from those directly involved. Our world.
In northern Uganda, they're crusading against human sacrifice, employing the authority of Christ and a good supply of paraffin to end a horrific practice that appears to be killing more children just when Uganda's becoming increasingly modern. The man leading the operation to convert witch doctors and torch their shrines says child sacrifice is on the rise, and he himself is guilty of the very crime he now wants to stop. He says he's sacrificed many people, even, he says, his own son.
I must be very frank. I was instructed, pick your own child, cut him, kill him, sacrifice him. I deceived the wife and I was left with the child alone. And I just used a very sharp, big knife and just brought it down like a guillotine onto the neck. And that was quite painful for me.
We started to look for the child when he disappeared.
The panic over witch doctors in northern Uganda began after school teacher Peter Odongo reported his son missing a year ago. Just a few days later, he buried 3-year-old Crispus here. The district medical officer reported that the little boy's body, found nearby, had been horribly mutilated.
We found that the organs, the major organs, like the liver, was not there. The pancreas was not there. The heart was not there. And the left arm was cut. So he concluded that this boy, the boy was killed. And he said this habit is what we call child sacrifice.
The threat to Uganda's children is now seriously alarming the government.
Spirits, through witch doctors demand for human blood. And how do you get human blood? You go to kill somebody. What we know is that there is an increase now, and public concern is a major issue, and government is responding to that concern.
The body was displaced here.
But not responding fast enough to satisfy people here, where another child, 18-month-old Rabina Atino, was found murdered, her throat slit. Neither her mother nor anyone else in the village knows the motive for the killing, but they're unanimous in blaming witch doctors. Now they've started taking their children everywhere with them, for fear they'll be abducted. Child sacrifice is not an age-old practice of witch doctors in this region. On the contrary, it's something new and deeply shocking for these people. The police say there have been about 24 ritual killings in Uganda in the past year, but people here believe the real number is much greater. They're bewildered by what's happening now, and they're scared for the safety of their children.
These are disappearances.
Did these children... Files on all recent disappearances in the Lango region of northern Uganda are kept by Eunice Apio of the development charity FAPAD. 40 cases in just 2 weeks?
Yes, that's approximately 2 cases per day.
She believes the authorities are underestimating the extent of ritual killing.
I believe that the figures given by government related to human sacrifice are actually insignificant, because majority of cases that were reported, especially from my area, were never followed up by the police. Every day we would hear a case, an alleged case, on radio at first. Parents and other community members would be calling radio stations and announcing and informing the public that a child had disappeared, or a child had been found dead, without a head, without limbs, perhaps, without internal organs, vital organs as well. Sometimes genital parts were found missing. And that partly also contributed to the panic that was rife during that period. It was bad.
Across Uganda, no one's yet been convicted in connection with recent child sacrifices, and few have even been arrested. But we're going to meet one boy who survived and led police to his alleged abductors. Now, 10-year-old Shafiq Kizike is hiding in this secret location.
He's the one. He's the one. She also fears because Shafiq needs to school.
Today, the families come together, but usually they're forced to live apart because Shafiq's been threatened by associates of the men he's accused. Men, he says, seized him in the street and carried him into a shrine. There, he underwent a terrifying ordeal at the hands of a female witch doctor.
There were big knives hanging in the roof of the shrine. The lady asked them to lay me down. After some time, she pulled a small stick and hit it next to my head. She told them I had a problem, that they should let me out of the shrine because I did not meet their standards. I was circumcised and I was not pure for their mission.
Shafiq survived because, being circumcised, the witch doctor considered him physically blemished and so unsuitable for sacrifice. Now, with fear of witchcraft increasing, more Ugandan parents have started circumcising their sons and piercing their daughters' ears to protect them. Paulino Angela, the former witch doctor turned anti-sacrifice campaigner, knows from his own experience of the spirit's demand for unblemished children. Today, he's reconstructing for us a ceremony like the one at which he was initiated. This is the moment the spirit enters the new witch. But greater powers, witch doctors believe, can only be acquired through sacrifice. The details of Paulino's initiation, which he's now revealing for the first time, are deeply disturbing. He says a 13-year-old boy was killed in front of him.
The purpose of the cutting was to have the blood squirting all over, So it was done just in my face, and the blood was squirting out. And the purpose of having your entire self drenched or soaked in the blood is simply to give you extra powers to speak all languages. Say if anybody came to you as a stranger, whose language you had never learned before, you'd be able to speak the language.
Paulino says that, possessed by a demon, he went on to murder not only his own son, but also many other people. I have to ask you this question. How many victims did you have? How many children do you think you killed?
It is difficult to remember precisely, but I can say that even 70 can be a figure that is not too exaggerated.
70 children?
70 persons, yes.
In the capital, Kampala, signs of modernity are everywhere. And yet, ironically, it's that very modernity that many Ugandans blame for what they see as a rise in ritual killings. Why is child sacrifice on the increase in an ever more modern society? Could it be that increasing wealth brings increasing ambition, and some people think that they can buy prosperity at the price of human blood? It's widely believed that the bodies of dead children have been buried under the foundations of some of the new developments in this city, Kampala, to ensure the success of the ventures. Concerns now so great that last year the Ugandan police set up an anti-human sacrifice task force.
The rich want to protect, they think they can use those witchcraft powers to protect their wealth and even make more money. There are also some traditional healers who have now strategized in that. There are some traditional healers who claim they have powers which can give wealth.
Traditional healers now advertise around the clock on Uganda's plethora of competing FM radio stations. One helps those who can't get love or can't have children. Another offers to solve any commonly faced problem. These particular healers are innocent, but are others really witch doctors?
This is his house here, I see.
On the outskirts of Kampala, a worker from a children's charity has brought me to meet a man who knew that one of his neighbours kept a shrine, but thought it was harmless enough, until something utterly horrific happened to his 3-year-old son, Mukisa. One morning a few months ago, Mukisa was found lying in a pool of blood.